1, 2. Okay, we're off. Hello, how are you? My name is Chris Quinlan. Welcome to the Drum Show. That was a jazz thing. Hopefully it's sort of melodic. Hopefully it's got a form to it. So this show is about improvisation, really. Okay, let me talk about the things that I do, I suppose. You see, when I prepare a show, I'm on a pretty quick turnaround. And, you know, when you have to produce a show a week and all of that sort of stuff, and lately I've been doing even a little bit more than that. But what it's about is you have to think on your feet. What are you going to do? My last show was all about upside down, and what that meant is taking a basic beat, let's say, just like this, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, like that, and turning it into something like for different things. I mentioned Budgie from Susie and the Banshees throughout the 80s and all of that sort of biz, and even into the 90s. And what it is you turn things upside down, you do different things. You might be on a fast turnaround, you've got to come up with a new idea, you've got to do all sorts of things like that. Now, some of the things that we do for this is we might take a simple rudiment like a paradiddle, right, left, left, left. Right, left, left, paradiddle. Something like that. Now, the way that it's usually done is fairly straight. I think most of us know by now that you can whack them into rock beats, right? There's one there. But what you can also do, it's a little rattle again. What you can also do is mix up the paradiddle itself into inversions, and I've done a show on inversions and all that. But then, of course, take it into different things. And I started the show off with jazz, right? Paradiddle. I'm not doing a single, I'm mixing it up. Something like that. You see, so you could get to say a jazz thing. Something like that anyway. A little bit slow for paradiddles maybe, but if you do it a bit quicker. Something like that. And you can mix it up, move it around. Now, probably, that was a bit of a rough ending again. Oh, God, Chris, warm up. Anyway, But what goes on is that you can work on some of these things. But I suppose one of the tricks with improvisation is to disguise it. Okay, a paradiddle is a paradiddle. There it is, sounding like immigrant song. You see, so there's that. But if you put it into different things, so that got out of that by the skin of my drumming teeth. Something like that. Now, this isn't a criticism, but when you start doing mixed sticking in a big way, when we're improvising and all that, what starts to happen is that you've got your drums in a row, right? Now, the usual thing is from high to low. Like that. You can do different things. There are some drummers out there, some of whom are my favourite drummers of all time, that will swap toms just to do something a little bit different. Okay, so it's not always going to be going down, right? The typical, most used fill-in in the world, just going down all the time. So what some drummers do is they'll swap toms. So it'll be, say, snare, then to mid, then to high, then to floor, and that kind of thing. If you want to think like tom 1, 2, and 3, it might be tom 2, 1, and 3, and a lot of people do that. That's fine. There's no problems at all. But it's sometimes because I work with melodic things, with my triggers and things like that. It's a little bit like changing the notes on a piano, swapping C for D and G for A and all that. So the melodic side, it can become a little bit confusing. So I'm standard. I just go down. So on. Because I think in terms of chords too. And especially over here as well. So what I do is mix sticking. If I want to change things up, I'll use paradiddles for my improvisations, you see. So it's a bit of a two-pronged show tonight, because what I'm doing is I'm talking about improvising, doing things on the fly sometimes, but within hopefully a well-conceived, sort of premise. And one of the things that you do is actually set up your systems, so to speak. Now, if I'm going to also incorporate angles around the drums and getting around the drums generally, one of the things you want to think about is timpani technique. So, I've got timpani patches because I'm going to talk timpani technique. What happens is when you're going up and down the drums, all this sort of business, what goes on is that in timpani technique, you've got, maybe 4 timpani wrapped around you. I've seen much more than that, half a dozen, all that sort of stuff. But what happens is that when you're going down, say, the timpani, when you're talking sticks, this is your inside stick and that's your outside stick. So you're going down. And then what happens is that when you're coming back up, it changes. Now your other hand is the inside stick. And in this case, the right hand becomes the outside stick. Now the reason that this happens is because when we're doing fill-ins on the drums, right? Something like that, using paradiddly kind of stuff, what actually happens is that we improvise, we make things up. But With classical percussion, you do not. Beethoven wanted that to be an F. He wanted that to be a C, perhaps, or whatever it is. So he will write that. So you've got to go, oh, what am I doing the hi-hat for? I'm playing timpani. Pah. Something like that anyway. So what happens is that when you're playing specific notes on the drum kit, such as something that is specifically written for the drums, last episode I played The Black Page, or Remembered the Black Page, by Frank Zappa. It was a loose version because I hadn't played it for such a long time, but I just remembered it. Now every note is written out. Every note is polyrhythmic. Every bit is hard, like that. But when it's specifically written, you have to sit there and sort of go, you know. I've got a little thing up here called Japanese Politician that I did a few weeks ago. And I mean, I specifically wrote out notes for it, right? Roughly, the last bar of my iPhone's anyway, covering it. So I think I played everything all right. Now, music like this exists. So what you need to do is when a composer writes something that is specific, you're going to need mixed sticking. So I've started this show off with paradiddles mixed sticking, and then, playing something off the cuff that is specifically written down. But what also happens is that when you're improvising, these things become invaluable, and I'll explain a little bit more of that after the break. Okay, so back soon.